Welcome to my craft table. Hi, this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. Well, let's get started. We're going to be using the Christmas Gleaming stamp set from Stampin'Up. We're going to be using this stamp, this one, and this one. And then we can put this one on the inside. Okay, for paper, move that right out of the way. I have 3 pieces of the Whisper White, which is 1.5 by 3 3/4. That's going to be our layers for to stamp on. I'm going to go ahead and put them right on this scrap paper. I have a piece of excuse me, I just totally blanked on the color. It is Mary Merlot, and this one is 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of black, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then our card base, which is my standard, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. So we're going to place these aside for a moment. We're going to work on these. For inks, I have Memento, Shaded Spruce, and Mary Merlot. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to start by stamping my sentiment, so I have a placement for that. I'm going to ink that up with the Memento, and I'm stamping Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly. I'm going to stamp that on this bottom panel over to the left hand side. Awesome, that came out beautiful. Okay, I'm going to set this ink aside for a minute. So I will be using it again, but not until we're done with the rest of this. And then I'm going to bring in the Mary Merlot. And the larger of the ornaments. I'm going to ink that up. And I have 3 panels here. This top panel, on this right side, I'm going to stamp the top portion of the ornament. Lovely. There's a great big dog hair smush on there. Let's flip this over and do it again. Clean this off because I don't like that big old smush of dog hair on it. Make sure it's clean. I had this set up last night. I should have waited till this morning. Then that wouldn't happen. Alright, let's try that again. Much better. Okay, now on this middle one, we're going to do the bottom portion of the ornament over on the left hand side. Okay, then on this third one, we're going to do the center part of the ornament over on the right hand side. So this time I think I'm going to do it over this way a little bit more. I'm not sure I need that green one on there. So I want to do an experiment. If I do, I'll stamp it again. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my card base. Let's move these aside for a minute. I have a scratch paper here. I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to stamp off on the scratch paper. Then I'm going to stamp this right in the center, a little bit over towards the right side, so it's lighter. Okay, then I'm going to bring back in that black ink since I'm right here, and I'm going to bring in the other sentiment and Be Jolly This Season. Ink that up with the Memento black. Make sure I got a good inking. There's no hairs on it. Go ahead and stamp that right in the center of the card, overlapping that ornament that we put in. perfect. Okay, that's our card base. Let's set that aside. Alright, I'm going to put this black aside. Alright, next I'm going to bring in the, done with the red ink, I'm going to bring in the shaded spruce. And I'm going to bring in this other ornament. On this top one, I'm going to stamp the entire ornament over, touching this one or close to it, the entire ornament. Okay, on this one I'm going to do it over on this side, and again we want the entire ornament, but we want it down lower and more over this way. Okay. Now we're going to bring in the memento and the little polka dots. We're going to stamp like little sparkles around the edges. So don't stamp too hard, just stamp a little bit. And stamp again if you want. Stamp a little bit of this over here. Okay, there's that one. Stamp around this one. You'll notice this has like a little bit of a curve around it, so it kind of goes around the side of the ornament well. But you don't have to use it strictly that way. Turn it. Alright, top one. Some over here. Okay. Now let's assemble our card. Bring in our base. We're going to add our black piece to the card front. This is just a 1/16 of an inch. Smaller than our card front, so there's just going to be a little bit of a border. I just find that's easier for me than trying to line it up exactly with the card. And if the card isn't cut exactly right, you get a little bit of a border still so that it looks good. Okay, now on this red piece, we're going to lay these out. This is the top one. This is the middle one. And this is the bottom one. You kind of want to figure out how much edge you're going to need. So that it's equal. Okay, then we're going to start with one end. Glue the top. And I go to the bottom, glue the bottom. And I glue the center. Try to make sure they're lined up. Okay, bring the card back in. This is going to go right on top of the black piece, and again this will have a 1/16 of an inch border, not very much of a border, just enough to give it a little bit of additional interest. Okay, now we're going to bring in some rhinestones. Get them out of the package today. There we go. And I'm going to use my take your pick tool, and I just pick them up like this. And I'm going to put one over here on this. I'm going to have one on each quadrant, and I want one over here, and I want it to have that triangle, visual triangle, because it helps with moving your eye around the card. Is more visually pleasing. One down here. There we go. There's our card for today. There's one we just made. Here's the one I did prior with the additional green on it. Which one do you prefer? Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day.